In this video, we're going to be talking about the key things you need to know if you're planning a trip to Disneyland in 2022. From getting your park reservations, to the food you definitely want to try, and the attractions you don't want to miss. So let's talk about it all right now. Hey there, my name is Eric D, and on this channel my hope is always to make your next Disney adventure a little bit more magical with tips and tricks, food reviews, and news. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. But whether you have visited the Disneyland Resort many times over the years, or you're planning your very first visit, there are key things you need to be aware of, especially after the past year and a half, because a lot of the planning that goes into a Disneyland trip has changed a little bit, so we want to make sure you're prepared to go. So I'm going to talk about a lot of details. Some will be pretty basic if you've been to Disneyland before, so you can go down in the description below and skip ahead to the sections that are most important to you. But if you haven't visited Disneyland, this will give you the key things you need to know. But let's start out with the parks themselves. There are two different theme parks to visit in the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California. The first, of course, is Disneyland. This is Walt Disney's original park, the park that started it all. And it is over 65 years old, and it is packed with so much magic. Square foot by square foot, I think there is more Disney magic in this park than any of the other parks because there are so many attractions. In fact, Disneyland lists over 50 attractions. Classics like Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, and also all the new Star Wars stuff that you'll definitely want to check out. You'll also find multiple nighttime spectaculars, and you can definitely spend much more than a day there. So if you only have one day to visit, the Disneyland park itself is the one I would recommend going to. The other park is Disney California Adventure, and while this is the newer park, it is still over 20 years old, and it celebrates kind of California through a Disney point of view. And so in this park, you're going to have more adventurous attractions in some way than you do at Disneyland, as far as you're going to find a roller coaster with a loop in it, you're going to find Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, which is going to be dropping you many levels. Also in this park, you're going to see more of a tone from Pixar and also Avengers. And so if you are Avengers or a Pixar fan, you definitely want to check out this park. And once again, Disney itself lists over 30 attractions for this park. So yes, Disneyland has a lot more attractions, but there's still a lot of great stuff to see. So if you're staying multiple days, definitely add California Adventure into the mix. And in addition to these two parks, they also have several resort hotels and also a shopping and dining district called Downtown Disney, which kind of connects all of these areas together. Now let's talk about getting your park tickets. It used to be that you could just buy a park ticket and show up basically any day and you were pretty much guaranteed to get in the park. But that's not the case anymore because you need reservations, and also if you're buying a only one-day ticket, the prices can vary and fluctuate depending on which day of the year you're visiting. So let's talk about a few of the different types of tickets that you might be looking at. There's the standard one-day ticket where you visit one park and the price can fluctuate depending on which day. And then there's a multi-day ticket where you're getting a slightly reduced rate because you're going multiple days in a row. Now keep in mind that once you start that ticket, it does expire within 13 days. So if you have 3 days on it, you need to use those 3 days within the 13 days after you started it. But you are getting a slightly reduced rate, and you can only visit one park per day. With both types of tickets, you have the option to add the park hopping option where you would get to visit both parks in the same day. And to do that, it's an additional $60 per ticket. So let's look at some of the prices here. As you can see, the single day ticket can fluctuate between $104 and up to $164, just depending on which day of the year you're planning to visit. With the multi-day ticket, the amount you're paying per day drops each day you extend the trip. And if you're wondering how many days you should be planning to go, lots of times I recommend to people 3 days because I really do feel like you can get to see everything you want to in 3 days and also get to see some of the things you love the most, maybe twice. If you can plan a longer trip, and maybe you want to mix in some other things, I've definitely done a 4-day and a 5-day too, where maybe you're not spending all the time in the park, but maybe seeing some other things locally, but you're definitely going to be able to take your time and really enjoy every moment of the parks. As I mentioned with the single day ticket and the multi-day ticket, in each of those cases you can add the park hopping option for $60. And for the multi-day ticket, that's not $60 a day, that's just $60. So as you can see, it really kind of is a good deal to get that multi-day ticket if you're planning to visit multiple days. Now, what is the benefit of having the park hopping option? I think one of the biggest things is if you are in one of the parks, say, for example, you have a 3-day ticket, and in that case, maybe you didn't get to go on one of the attractions you really wanted to for your one day that you had planned in California Adventure. Well, on that 3rd day, you can not only be in Disneyland, but you can go back to California Adventure. One key thing to remember about how park hopping works now in the year 2022 is that you can only start park hopping after 1 p.m. And so to start the day, you have to actually select which park you're going to start in, and you do that by making a park reservation. The way the reservations work is once you have your ticket, you can go online either on your desktop computer or using the app, and you can make a park reservation. At the time of making that park reservation, you need to pick which park you're going to start in. And the closer you get to your actual day, it might be that Disneyland doesn't have any starting dates, and so you would have to start in California Adventure, or if it's just a one park ticket, you would have to go to California Adventure on those days. So keep that in mind, that you want to plan ahead as far as you can, and Disneyland allows you to plan 120 days in advance to make those reservations. Now they usually don't run out that quick, no worries about having to be, oh no, I'm 90 days out, am I going to be okay? But when you get within a month and a half, some of those tickets do start to run out. If you want a special breakfast, or if you want a special lunchtime, as you're thinking about your vacation, like, oh, I really want to have breakfast over at Disneyland, you can't be picking California Adventure to start in and then hop over, because you can't do that until 1 p.m. So keep that in mind as you're making those reservations and selecting which park to start in. As you're deciding which tickets to get, you might also be asking the question, when is the best time to visit? Keep in mind that whether it's holidays, weekends, or those summer months, Disneyland is usually busier and more in demand. And so the ticket prices for those single day tickets are definitely going to be higher during those times. But also the park might be a little bit more crowded because more people are wanting to go there at that time. One way you can look at this is if you are looking at the Magic Key Holders block out dates, which is their new annual pass program. You can look at those dates and see when those individuals are blocked out. And if the lower levels are blocked out, that means they are expecting more people wanting to get into the park, so they're trying to keep out those Magic Key Holders at that point. Also, you can look at those ticket prices and see if it's a more expensive day, it's likely going to be more in demand and more people in the park those days. Also, keep in mind that even though you might want to avoid crowds, sometimes during those busy seasons is when they have the most entertainment and they have all the attractions for the most part up and running. So during the summer months, they usually have the fireworks going nightly. They'll have shows like Fantasmic going nightly. But if you're visiting in some of the off times, on weekdays, they will not always have fireworks. They might just have kind of special effects and projections that they show on the castle and kind of a light show, but not the full-on fireworks and not the full-on entertainment of Fantasmic. So even though you might want to be avoiding the crowds, there's definitely some benefits to be there kind of when it's on season. Now let's talk about the hotel situation around the Disneyland Resort. Disney does own and operate 3 hotels. So there's Disney's Grand Californian Hotel, the Disneyland Hotel, and Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel. Grand Californian is the most expensive, Disneyland Hotel is the next expensive, and the Paradise Pier is the lower cost one, but compared to low cost ones at Walt Disney World, it still is quite a bit because it can be $400, $500 a night. And the other hotels get much more, where it can be $600 to $800 a night, and some of the nicer rooms even higher than that. So you are paying a lot to stay at one of the on-site Disney hotels. And the benefits of that is, of course, they're beautifully themed hotels. The cast members there are great. You are very, very close to the parks. In fact, the Grand Californian Hotel has an entrance right into the park. So all of that, you're very nearby, close. One of the benefits they used to have, but currently, at the time of making this video, they do not have, is extra magic hour. And this would be that all the hotel guests were allowed to one park each day, an hour before everyone else. To me, that pushed it over the top that it was worth spending that extra money. Currently, because they aren't offering that, I'm not really recommending to friends that you have to go to a Disney hotel. Yes, they're beautifully themed, they have fun pools, they have all these great things, some fun restaurants, but for the price, you can be very close to the park still by going to a Good Neighbor hotel. And unlike Walt Disney World, where if you are staying off-site, you are miles and miles and miles from the park, and you're going to have this big long drive to get to the park, and you're going to have to do the parking lot and all those things. That is not the case at Disneyland, because there are hotels all along just the outside of Disneyland. So along Harbor Boulevard, Katella, and even behind Disneyland on Ball Road, there's a number of hotels that, once again, they vary in price, but you can be finding things for $200, $300 a night. So you could be saving $300, $400 a night compared to the Disneyland hotels. The difference here is, it is not that Disney experience as far as the hotels, there are plenty of very nice hotels. There are some that look a little bit sketchy. The really positive thing about these hotels is lots of them are very close to the park, and within 10 to 15 minutes you can actually be at the park gates because they're not too far away. Now, some people will look at the map of Anaheim and be like, hey, the further I get out, the cheaper and cheaper they go. Keep in mind that the further you are away, you're not going to have that same opportunity to walk to the parks in 10 to 15 minutes. So I always am a little hesitant if you're getting too far away from those immediate Harbor Boulevard ones or too far past Katella. That's when I start to get a little nervous when friends are telling me that, because if you are trying to save a few bucks, but yet you have to drive to the parks each day and park at the parking structure, that means you are paying for probably parking at the hotel, parking at the parking structure, and also you're not having that opportunity to go back to the hotel room for a quick nap in the afternoon. So look at those hotels right along Harbor Boulevard and also Katella. And I am going to put a link down in the description below. Some of my friends, Anaheim Park Tourists, they have a great channel, and they have reviewed many of these hotels that way more than I ever have. And so they give kind of room tours, and also they talk about how long it takes to walk to each park. They give real-time walking instructions on those. So check them out in the link below if you're looking at some of those hotels along Harbor Boulevard or Katella. One thing I will say about staying at the non-Disney hotels is you are going to be walking through Anaheim as you get back to your hotel room. So that means there might be random people who come up trying to sell you things. So you do leave that Disney bubble. Whereas lots of times if you were staying in Walt Disney World, you don't have that same experience. But once again, I've never felt unsafe or anything like that. But you are walking through your city lots of times at nighttime when you're getting back from the park. Next, let's talk about Disney Genie Plus. This is what has replaced Disney's Fast Pass and Disney's Max Pass if you've previously visited Disneyland Resort. Now, the purpose of this is to get you on attractions quicker, but at a price. Disney Genie Plus costs $20 a day per person. So per ticket, you're going to be paying $20 a day. But this makes it so you can look on your app, select certain times. As you walk into the park, you can say, hey, I want to go on Indiana Jones soon. You select that attraction, and it will give you a reduced wait time when you return to what is referred to the Lightning Lane. So you don't have to wait in the standard queue. You go in the Lightning Lane, and you are going to be able to go to almost the front of the attraction, and you're going to get on a lot quicker. There's a lot of details to this right here. I will list all the attractions that are available in Disney Genie Plus. There are tips and tricks and things you need to be aware of. So in the link above, I am going to put my video where I break down all the details. So if you are thinking about getting Disney Genie Plus, or you really think, I don't have much time at the park, I really want to make the most of the day, and $20 per person, I can afford that, check out that video because it is going to give you the key things you need to know and how to make the most if you're using Disney Genie Plus. But had to bring that up here because when you walk into the park and you open up the app, it's going to be telling you, buy Disney Genie Plus. So be aware of what that is, the benefits, but also you don't need to have it to still have a great day, but it is going to save you a lot of time waiting in line. Now let's talk about the must-see attractions that I think you need to see in each park. So for Disneyland, currently the most popular, busiest, newest attraction is Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. And this is an amazing attraction. Imagineering has taken it to the next level. You are going to be on basically like a 20 to 25 minute experience once the attraction begins, as you kind of get briefed on what's going on, as you get to load on a spaceship, and then you eventually end up trapped by the First Order. So there's a lot of great things and fun things about this attraction that, because it's so popular, currently the attraction line can get very long. We're talking sometimes up to 2 hours. So I would recommend, if you can, get to the parks very early, even before the parks open, so you're waiting outside the gate. That is sometimes your best chance to get the line at a reduced wait. Other attractions at Disneyland that I feel are must-see, of course, are like Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion. Those are classics. Small World, Peter Pan, and Fantasyland. If you're over at California Adventure, the newest attraction that usually has a pretty long line is Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure. This is in the Avengers Campus area. It is a very fun attraction. I would not necessarily recommend waiting an hour for it. To me, it's more of a 25 to 40 minute wait attraction. You could do that and still feel good about it. But the attraction does put you in the situation where you get to be slinging webs with Spider-Man and helping save the day. So it's very fun. The attraction that will probably have the longest wait in California Adventure is Radiator Springs Racers, and this is such a fun attraction. I highly recommend it. But once again, you will want to be to Disney California Adventure early. Also, they have a single rider standby line where you can go and wait in line. You won't get to sit with your group, but they will stick you in a car when there's an extra seat. And so that's also a way, if you think the line is too long and you're not going to be able to make it on, go for that single rider line. That usually moves pretty quick. Other attractions you definitely want to check out when you're at California Adventure: Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. There are 6 different versions of it because there's different songs and music and different drop sequences, and you'll have a great time on that one. Soarin' is an amazing attraction, one of my very favorites. It really does make you feel like you're flying, and also the Incredicoaster is always a blast. I have a lot more details about making the most of your day, whether it is having the Switch Pass if you have younger guests with you that aren't tall enough to go on some attractions, or when's the best time to eat, the mobile app, and how to do mobile ordering. I got tons of details all about that. It's a pretty long video, but it's loaded with details that will save you time and money. So I'm going to put that in the description down below. So definitely check that out, because if you're going to go to Disneyland, you might as well make the most of your day. So check out that video down below so you can get all the tips and tricks to save time and money. Next, we're going to talk about the restaurants and food items that I definitely think you should get while you're at the Disneyland Resort. It's important to understand there's kind of 3 different levels of restaurants. There's the table service, where you are having someone come to your table, taking your order, bringing the food out to you, you're paying the tip and all those things. There is the quick service, where you often grab a tray or something like that. You go and get the food you want and then go to a cash register and they ring it up and you take that to your table and eat a great meal there. And then there's the outdoor vending carts, where you are getting treats as you're walking around. So first, let's talk about the table service restaurants that I think are best at Disneyland and California Adventure. So the Blue Bayou, if you're looking for a special evening or a great lunch, this is a great place to do it. Yes, it's hard to get reservations. Yes, it's very popular, but those views and just the whole theming, and recently the food has been very good at Blue Bayou. So I definitely recommend that. Or if you're looking for a slightly cheaper option, but still great food, is Cafe Orleans. This is once again a sit-down restaurant, but you are going to get some of that great New Orleans food, and I highly recommend the Monte Cristo sandwich. So look at those options. With those, you do need reservations. They sometimes have walk-ups, but definitely get reservations for those, and reservations are made 60 days in advance. Over at California Adventure, kind of the classiest restaurant they have over there is the Carthay Circle restaurant, and that is in the Carthay Circle Theater, which is right at the end of Buena Vista Street. So there's great things said about that one, and also the Lamplight Lounge, which is over at Pixar Pier. So definitely check out those 2 options if you're looking for kind of a nicer meal while you are at California Adventure. Now let's talk about the casual dining options over at Disneyland. My favorite of those is definitely the Plaza Inn, where you can get a delicious chicken dinner or pasta Alfredo. Really delicious home cooking, and of course I love eating at the end of Main Street and just taking in Disneyland as I'm eating that delicious meal. There's other great quick service options like the French Market over in the New Orleans Square area. There's Rancho de Zocalo, where you can get great Mexican food. Back in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, there's Docking Bay 7, where once again it is delicious food, but they kind of have a theming with it as far as Star Wars goes. So definitely check out those quick service options in Disneyland. The price will usually run about $15 per meal there. All of those have some great options that I've always really enjoyed. Over at California Adventure, I'd highly recommend checking out Flo's V8 Cafe if you're looking for a quick service option, both for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Or I also love the Pimtest Kitchen over in Avengers Campus. Yes, I am a big Marvel fan, so maybe that's why I love it so fun, but they have kind of a fun play on food where they make some things big, some things small, sticking to that Ant-Man and the Wasp theme. So good food options over there. It's not going to cost you a ton because they're usually, like I said, about $15 per meal, but still really delicious food that you can enjoy. With the outdoor vending carts, you can find everything from treats like churros to things like hot dogs and turkey legs and chimichangas. This is not where I go first for my meals because I kind of like the bigger sit-down meals with the quick service options, but you can still get a lot of great treats, and the specialty churros are amazing, so you definitely want to check those out. Now let's talk entertainment. One of the things I love most about the Disneyland Resort is the entertainment offerings, and so I would highly recommend, if you're in Disneyland, making sure you check out the fireworks show that is currently going on. Sometimes they only do those on the weekends, but oftentimes they will have them nightly, so definitely check out the fireworks show. There are a number of spots you can watch this, whether it is on Main Street, back by It's a Small World, but whatever you do, make some time to see those fireworks. And also, if you're in the parks when Fantasmic is going on, this is an amazing show. It happens around the rivers of America. You do need to plan ahead, usually by getting kind of a show pass, they call it, where you scan your ticket earlier in the day so you can kind of get reservations to sit in the area or stand in the area. But you are going to have a great time seeing this about 20-minute show where it's Mickey's imagination kind of fighting Disney villains. So it's a really amazing show we're excited to have that coming back in 2022. Also for 2022, they're going to have the Main Street Electrical Parade. Now, if you've never seen the Main Street Electrical Parade before, you may watch it and be like, that seems like it's kind of older. And it is. While it has been updated and changed over the years, it is its 50th anniversary, and that's why they're bringing it back. So for those of us who are big Disneyland fans and it's more nostalgia, you'll be really excited to see the Main Street Electrical Parade again. For those of you who it's your first time, it might not be at the top of your list, but it is a fun show. Over at California Adventure, I highly recommend checking out World of Color. This is an amazing fountain show. It will blow your mind. So beautiful, so much fun. Once again, you do need to get a show pass earlier in the day to scan in for that. So as they start to post times for those shows, they will give more information about how to have access to those. But definitely make time, plan to see World of Color or Fantasmic, depending on which park you're in. And also throughout your day, look at the options on the app for other shows that are going on. There's little entertainment groups that are a lot of fun to see throughout the Disneyland Resort. So definitely check those out. You'll have a great time because they do a great job with the entertainment. And after giving you all these tips, my final tip is make sure you're doing Disneyland the way you want to do Disneyland. Yes, there's ways to save time. Yes, there's things that people really recommend to hit. But if you are there mainly for the attractions, go crazy with those attractions. If you're not really big into attractions, or maybe you get a little motion sickness on things, have fun with the entertainment or really enjoy the food. If you like shopping, do that. If you like people watching, grab a bench and have a great time. But visit Disneyland in a way that's meaningful to you, that you're gonna have a great time with your friends and family. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like. And in the comments down below, I would love to hear what you are looking most forward to for your next Disneyland trip. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, consider doing that because my hope is always to make your next Disney adventure a little bit more magical. And I continually have new food reviews, new tips and tricks, and the latest news coming out of the Disneyland Resort. So definitely subscribe if you haven't. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see y'all again real soon. Bye.